Don't feel bad when I'm down, I'ma be okay. This red gon' come right back around, I smack the BOA. Only the members don't come round if you ain't down one. We go back like Tom Brady on a shotgun. Knew I was finna be great when I came out the wound. They hate that I'm a butterfly that came out that cocoon.
About to work on my wife's G35.
G35!
She got leaking valve covers. There's a common issue with these G35.
G35!
These bad boys leaking inside and out. And as you can see, you can't even view the valve covers. They're under there somewhere. With that being said, you gotta take off all this stuff is in this region here. So we're gonna start by taking off this intake. And her intake actually is starting to crack. You see that right there? That's not good, because once it starts sucking air, turn on the check engine light, because you got a mass airflow sensor down here and all that good stuff. So we're going to take off the intake. To take off the intake, there you go. You got a flat tip right there. Of course, you got to take off this hose. And depending if I can pull it all out in one piece, you just disconnect it from this section down here. Of course, you take off this sensor right here, but if I can't get it off in one piece, we'll have to break it down. Probably remove this center piece, take the top portion off, and then the bottom portion. But the bottom portion you might not even have to take off. Alright, so far what I've done, I went ahead and loosened all the bolts around the upper plenum, the middle one, and come on, get on that wire, the outer ones, they all loose. Also, I just quickly glanced around and see what vacuum hoses was hooked to it. Told you about the one over there that I took off the intake. There was one right here, took it off, and then I took the one off from the back of the throttle body right there. And the reason I took that one off, because my plan is this bracket, I'm just going to loosen that 10mm right there and push that back out of the way. Hopefully that's good enough. Then I ain't gotta bother with taking all these connectors and the other hoses off. Like I say, the least you have to take apart, the quicker you get done with this. So I'm gonna try that for now. I should be able to raise at least the upper plenum, and then the lower plenum, I'll see what's in the way of that. All right, as you see, I gotta lift it. There's two water lines back there that I can see so far. One of them is can you see that back there? This is one of them. It goes right under the intake manifold. So to me, you can raise the plenum. It'll give you some room to get to it easier, or follow that line. That line, it goes down and it stops right here. Now, you see that right there? Yeah, right there. It's easier to take it off from down here. It's a water line. It's a lot easier to take it off from down here than it is to fight from up under there. So when you lift this plenum, this whole line gonna come with it. No big deal. So that one's done. There's one more up under there. Let me get to it and I'll show you where it's at and how I took it off. Alright, so it's one right up under the bottom. You got the throttle body right there. Right up under it. It's that bad boy. So I got the clamp. You just, put a pair of pliers on it, squeeze it and pull it down. Depending on which direction this clamp is facing to where you squeeze it, it'll make it easier or hard for you. Mine wasn't in a too bad of a location, but once you squeeze it, twist it, put it in the position you want it to be, so when you go put it back next time, you can get to it easy. So I twisted it to where I can get to it from this angle. Yeah. Don't just pull on them, because like I say, they've been on there a while, they stuck, they've been crimped, the heat get to it. What you want to do, you want to break that seal. Breaking that seal, all you gotta do is twist it. If you can do it with your hand, cool, but most of the time you can try to twist it, but it's too hard to do it with your hand. So what I do, I just get a pair of pliers. Don't grab it real tight, because you don't want to put a hole in the hose, and just lightly twist. And you'll actually feel it give, because it'll be hard in the beginning and then it'll free up. And when it free up like how it is now, it should be a lot easier to pull off. This is a water line. See how that just pulled off? I just broke the seal by twisting it, and it come right off. So it's gonna leak a little coolant, might leak a lot of coolant, I don't really care. But that's water line. I just wanted to show you how you can get these bad boys off without fighting with them. Oh, it didn't leak a lot. This car been sitting for like a day or two or something. So probably why there's not a lot of water in this mamma jamma. But those are the two water lines that I see so far. So I should be able to take this plenum off. Let me see. And I was correct. After taking off this water line in the back and the one that went right here, you can now lift it off. Now this is the lower plenum, and we got to take that off too. I can already see it's gonna be a hose right there you got to remove, and this has already been removed. A few pressure regulator. We're gonna have to free up some room for the harness, because as you can see, it go right across the brow cover. So this lower plenum look like it'll be easy to take off. As of now, I only see one hose that's hooked to it. There may be more, but I'm just glancing over it real quick. But this one have 8 bolts, 6 in the middle. There's 1 in the front right here. I believe it's 1 in the rear. Yeah, there's 1 in the rear right there. So those are also 10mm. Just take all 8 of them out, and this bad boy should pick right up. Alright, so I got all the bolts loose. They're ready to come up. Look like all of them is the same size, so you don't have to worry about that. So we're gonna pull these bad boys out. Try not to drop them, or you're gonna be running to the dealer. Alright, so I know all these goes in the center. Yep, they all same size. And then I already got the 2 nuts off the front and the back. Alright, so it's kind of like a little spider gasket. Look at that. It's crazy. It's crazy how they did that, but that's how they did that. Little spider gasket. See that? It all comes up as one piece, so got that out the way. Now, this lower plenum should come up. I'm not for sure if it's any more hoses onto it. I still ain't even took that one off. I should have took it off before I took the bolts out. It'll keep it from moving around, so whatever. Let me get that and pick up the plenum. I'll let y'all know how it goes. Alright, so what I ended up doing, instead of taking it off from this end, I just took it off from this end. And this is the lower plenum. It did have some oil, a little poodle. Has some poodles right here of oil. Got a little bit. So clean all that out. But that other end just went to the PVC valve over here. So I just took it off that instead of trying to wrestle and pull it back this way, because then you'll have to bend that old brittle hard rubber hose. So I just pulled up and it was a lot easier. Now the lower plenum is off. As you can see, this is the intake portion of it. Always cover this. Take that gasket off. Cover this with whatever you can cover it with, because you do not want anything falling in there, or your day is gonna be miserable. So let's cover that and continue working. Alright, G35. Alright, so I just had this rag. It was pretty much the same length. Might have been a little longer, but I just tucked it down in there to cover the hose, so don't nothing fall in that mamma jamma. Alright, so that's good. Now all we have to do is make room. Pull out the coils and create some slack for the harness so I can move it out of the way. So the next step, you got coils down in there. They all 10mm. Disconnect them. They all pinch and pull connectors like this one. So pinch this little tab right here, pull it right off. So you got 6 of them, 3 over here, 3 over there, 10mm. And then, like I say, this harness, these tabs that's holding it probably gonna break, but I got some zip ties, so I get them back down there. So yeah, that's next. Remove the coil, make some room for the harness. I just wanted to show y'all why I'm changing these valve cover gaskets. You can see in here all that grime and oil. Look at that. It's oil. It's been leaking for a while, so that's the main reason why I'm changing these valve covers. I just wanted y'all to get a look at that. Same thing over here. Look at that. That's disgusting. So we're gonna clean that up, get them removed. Another thing I want to show you. It's a 10mm here, 10mm here, and then it's another one back here. You can't even see it, right? Let me see. Oh, there you go. If you look where my finger is, where is that? I can't even see it. Oh, yeah, it's right. I don't know if you can see that, but where my finger's pointing, there's a bolt right there to take out this coil. You might say, oh, that's hard, I can't get to it. This right here, it's aluminum. Just move it out of the way. You be all right. Bend it out of the way. Now that bolt is exposed. Take that memo jammer up out of there, man. Don't be afraid to push no metal or nothing. You know, I'm gonna break it. No, you're not. Just get it out of the way.
Got that right.
Also, with these coils, you don't want to get this order mixed up. This one goes facing this way, and these two could be tricky. You got one at the top, and you got one at the bottom. If you take all this up and move the harness to get it out of the way so you can remove the valve cover, you might forget where these two went. Just remember, the one at the top goes to the last one, and then the harness at the bottom goes to the middle one. Somebody already marked them. I didn't even see that. That say 2. Oh yeah, that got 1. So it's 1, 2, and then it don't even matter if this one marked or not, because you already know where 1, 2 goes. So obviously 3 goes to the last one. So obviously somebody been in here already. They marked it, but in case yours not marked, just remember the harness that's at the top goes to the last one, and not the one at the bottom. Alright, so I finally got it loose. I don't even know if this gonna be enough. I'm gonna tell you, man, to get enough slack out of the harness so you can pull the valve cover off, you gotta be patient, because it takes time. Basically, you gonna go around and you're gonna see brackets like this everywhere. One there, back there, one in the front. There's another one right here. There's another one right there. It's a big one back there, and still it's not loose. These are grounds. I could take them off. As you can see, this wire is pretty long, so if I take those out, I'm still not gonna get a whole lot of play out of it, because I'm not even taking up all the play from these wires. So that goes down there. I'm not dealing with that. That's too far in. So it look like I might just have to just kind of pry on that a little bit, pull it up, so I can get enough clearance to pull the valve cover out. One of these bolts is way in the back. This is for the valve cover. Right there. You see it up under there? What I did to get that bolt, I used to swivel, 3/8 swivel, 10mm. This is what helped me get that bolt. I used a long extension, put the swivel on the end. I was able to get that bolt way back there, up under there, right there, where my thumb is, that dark, right there. So that's how you get that. And another thing, Nissan makes sure these valve covers don't come off. It's about 10 bolts on one valve cover. It's what, 3, 4 over there, 4 over here, plus in the back, that's 9, and 1 in the middle, right up in there. So that make it 10. I'm assuming that's holding it down. I'm not sure, but I unloosened it anyway. So all these bolts are loose. I'm gonna take them out and see if the valve cover come off. Now you can take out the coil. This one look good. That one look good. Okay. Okay. And that one look good. It's got a little moisture on it. All these are dry. Now, let's check the ones over here. This is another main reason why I wanted to replace the valve cover. This one is cool. And once again, I'm just pulling the coils out. That one's cool. Oh, one more to go. That one's cool too. Well, no, it ain't. It's a little wet. That means those seals underneath is bad. It's starting to let oil in. So, this one's a little wet too. So, yeah, those seals starting to go. I got two over here. See how dry that one is compared to these? The seals on the bottom side is bad. So, it's two over here that's bad. And one over here that look like it was about to go. Come on, boy. Well, anyway, this one's a little wet too. Probably can't tell, phone ain't focusing. But alright, back to it. Let me see if I can pull up this valve cover. Alright, with the grace of God and a whole lot of patience, I finally got this side out. This is the drover side. Now I gotta get this passenger side out. This harness ain't showing no love, man. I got more slack over here. I was able to, you know, get some slack, but over here I'm gonna have to figure something out, cause I don't know if this valve cover go budge.
Do it! Just do it!
Look like everything that I can loosen, I loosen, so I might just have to hold this side up in the air while I try to wiggle it out or something, cause I don't see any other way I can get more slack out of this harness. But I'm gonna dig in and let y'all know what gwines on. So like I say, oh, up here for the ejector clips, they also go into the valve cover. This one I was able to get out without breaking it, so when I put the other valve covers on, I just push it back in. It should stay, hopefully. This one I broke, but I ain't worried about it. It's pretty stable. Plus I have zip ties, so need be, I'll zip tie it back to the valve cover. So let me get the other one out. Alright, so I got both of them off. I cleaned up in there around the head, pulled the spark plugs out, checked those, they was good. And I did end up taking these grounds off the front. It did give me a little more slack, so I was trying to get all I can get, man. But this is where the story gets sad. You're probably wondering why I have two sets of valve covers. I went and bought another set of valve covers. These are from eBay, okay? Now let me tell you why. If you get oil in where the spark plugs go, you pull out your coil and it's full of oil like I showed you earlier, it's because of these seals right here. These seals go bad, it'll let oil go in on the spark plug. Well, I'm a Honda guy, so I'm gonna use those as an example. With the Honda, turn the valve cover over, pop these out, put the new ones in, put your new seal around here, throw it back on, you all good. But for some reason, the Nissan guys made the valve covers to where these are not removable, and if they start to leak, you have to buy new valve covers.
What? What the fuck?
Now tell me if that makes sense. Just because you an engineer don't mean you the brightest.
The G35!
Why they did it that way, I have no idea. There is a way to modify it. To get these out, you have to cut it with a Dremel tool. And once you cut it, this have a metal ring in it. Cut that metal ring, you can get it out. And if you get the spark plug seals from I believe it's like a 2010 Civic, either the 1.8 or the 2.0, they're fitting here. But the thing is, they smaller, so you have to double them up. You have to put two in each one. The total to buy 2 packs of seals, to double them up, put them in each valve cover, it's like 30 bucks, something like that. I paid a little bit more than that for both of these valve covers. So I just went ahead and bought the valve covers instead of just doing the seal and cutting and modifying and all that. But for those who want to take the modification way or don't mind modifying it, I'll put the link in the description. There's guys on YouTube who show you how to cut these out and put the Honda seals in there. So that's why I have 2 sets of valve covers.
The G35!
You know how hard it is to squeeze these valve covers in and out of this dang on car. So what I did while I was cleaning up everything and check your spark plug. You can see a little bit. I put silicone along the in different spots, not all through it, but in different locations to keep this seal in this gasket. So when I go to try to put it back in, it don't, you know, you turn it upside down, the seal want to fall out, be flopping all over the place. So I put that sealant on there to hold the seal while I try to squeeze this valve cover back up off of in there. So we all clean. You're supposed to put the sealant along these edges right here in the front. Well, me knowing those are the eBay valve covers and their quality control ain't that great, I'm gonna put sealant all along this head just in case that valve cover possibly warped, or I don't know the case may be, but I'm gonna put sealant all along that head just to give extra protection against leaks. So I'm gonna do that, and it was something else I wanted to say, but I don't remember. Oh, this rubber right here, you're gonna have to take off. I haven't tried to get it off yet, but that will have to come off and transfer to the new valve cover. So let me get that silicone around these heads right here. Yeah, man, I got both valve covers on. This member jam over here took me twice to get it right. First time I sat it down, I noticed it wasn't going flush. I looked over to the passenger side underneath the valve cover, and the gasket was hanging off, waving at me. So I had to take it back off, put the gasket back on, and try it again. Second time I got it, but this is what I did. The problem was back here where this bracket and all that is, I had to pull up on it real hard and then put the back end first, angle it, put this corner in under this bracket, and then once I got that under there, I had plenty of room to just kind of play with it and get it to sit flush. So that one wasn't too bad of a problem. This side was a breeze. I had a lot of room to play. I got this one on the first go around. Man, my back hurt. Car too low. You know what I'm saying? I think it's low. I'm leaning over. Anyway, got that one on first try, and as you can see, I'm already laying the harness back down. Everything is the reversal of what you did when you took this stuff off. You just putting it back down. I usually don't even show the reversal, but just for, you know, the sake of it, you know, somebody might need some help putting it all back together. So basically the brackets, you got one that bolted up right here, that 10 millimeter. There's one back here that bolted up 10 millimeter. This one I told you don't be scared to bend. Put that one back. Booyakasha. Got one more right here. I gotta put a bolt in. It's a bracket right there. I gotta put this down here. All they do is clamp around this hose right here. Got a little, I don't know if you can see that, but it just goes around the hose. Put that back. This hose, not hose, but connector goes to the mass airflow sensor. The bracket right here, I'm leaving it loose in case when I go to put the lower plenum and the upper plenum on, it might be in the way because it hang over pretty far. So I'm gonna leave that one loose. Still gotta hook up these grounds. And got a bracket right here that I put. This harness, it snips back into there. Here we go. Over here was the mess. I actually forgot how to put this side back together, but I watched my own video to put it back. So you got a bracket back here that bolts to the valve cover, and it's a bracket right here that bolts to the valve cover. This one I believe bolts to that the upper plenum when you get that on there, so I'm gonna leave that loose. This right here is that hose that I took off. I think it's called like an equalizer hose or something like that. Oh no, the equalizer, it goes here. It goes, the equalizer, let me tell y'all about that. Matter of fact, it goes from this port to that port. This thing is real brittle and hard, and it might be a good thing to just buy one before you start taking this thing apart. All it is a vacuum hose. They say it equalizes the vacuum pressure from both valve covers. It just goes across like that, okay? So, but it's not rubbery anymore. It gets real hard, and it tends to crack and break when you try to take it off. I got mine off. It's in pretty good shape, but you might want to get that before you start playing with this thing on car and taking stuff apart. So I got that hooked up, all the brackets over there hooked up, nails. Gonna start putting that lower plenum on. All right, we almost done, y'all. Bear with me. I got everything put back, the wiring harness, valve covers, all that good stuff. I cleaned up this middle section. I even sprayed down in there with some carburetor cleaner. Try to clean it up a little bit. It was that goldish brown from all the gas and carbon and whatever else go down in there. So now you want to lay the gasket on this bad boy. The gasket has 2 arrows at the bottom, face towards the front of the car. So just drop that member jam on there like so. So remember, the 2 arrows face towards you, front of the car. And the best way to find out if you got it on there right, they only go one way. Just make sure all the bolt holes line up. Look in the bolt holes, make sure all of them line up with the gasket, and you straight. So, nails. Cleaned up the lower panel. I don't know if y'all remember, but it was all golden, orange, brown looking. Went over it with some carburetor cleaner and some awesome. Awesome is like a degreaser you can get out of the Dollar Tree or 99-cent store, whichever one you prefer. Clean this bad boy up real good. Now it's the time to do it. You might even gain a little ponies out of it, because now you're getting better airflow instead of the air catching all this dirt and grime. So what you want to do is sit this lower plenum on there, boy. About to do that right now. I can't do it with one hand, so I'll be back. Got that lower plenum on there now. Just make sure it sit flush. It's not caught with this rubber piece here or some of the brackets that you gotta put on later. It's not up under it, making it not sit flush. And just look underneath, you know, the sides and stuff. Put your hand around, just make sure none of the wire harness is keeping it from sitting flush. That'll be a drastic mistake once you've done and you go to fire this thing up and you got a massive vacuum leak somewhere. You gonna be like, ow. So just make sure it's flush. You go get a little rock left and right. See how it rock a little bit left and right, but just make sure it's flush, steady. And now you're gonna sit that gasket on. This is the spider gasket I was telling you about. Same thing with the spider gasket. 2 arrows in the front. Just make sure these 2 arrows are facing the front of the car, and the spider gasket should go on. Let me see if I can do it with one hand. Drop it in the center, in the center. Put that, there we go. I'm sorry, camera all down and stuff, but just drop it in like that. Once again, make sure it's flush. Make sure all the bolt holes line up. You want to make sure all the bolt holes line up. Once you know all the bolt holes line up, you know you got this member jammer on there correct. So now we got to put that bronze piece in the center. I don't even know what I did with it, but let me grab it and line it up right. Once you had that little spidey gasket on there, this metal piece goes over it. And you see that arrow? That arrow, once again, has to be facing you, the front of the car. This little lip or a hook on the, there we go. That is gonna fall in that hole in the rear. There's another one in the front right there. It's gonna fall in that hole right there. So go and line it up. Make sure the arrow is facing you. Drop it off up in there, and you good. Take a gander. Make sure the bolt holes is lined up. And you can start dropping these bolts in there. Remember the lower plenum? All these gold or bronze looking bolts go in that center. It's 6 in the center, and then these, it's a nut right here and a nut in the back. So all together is 8. Let's get the member jammers in there. All of it's laid down. Got all the bolts in, but they're hand tight right now. I gotta look up the sequence to tighten these bolts. Also the torque specs. I don't plan on using the torque specs, but I might get them just for y'all in case y'all want to know what's the torque specs in the boat. How can I say, the pattern you need to use to tighten the boats down. But me myself, I'm gonna look up the pattern so I don't warp nothing. But when it comes to the actual torque specs, I ain't tripping. I've been doing it for a while. I know what's too tight and what's not tight enough. So I'm gonna just get these things on there. Everything is all torqued down. And how can I say, the bolt pattern, the pattern you want to tighten in: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7 down here, and 8 is the one in the back. There you go. 8 is right there. So once again, in case you don't want to rewind the video, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 all the way in the front, and then 8 all the way in the back. And like I say, I just tighten these by feel. I'll probably look up the torque specs and include them in the video before I upload it. But if I don't be mad at me, okay? Don't be mad at me. Just do a quick Google search and it'll lead you in the right way. When I did, I went over it at least 4 or 5 times, because every time I torqued them all down and went back to number 1 again, it was a little bit looser. Did them all again, went back a little bit looser. Went all again, so you can keep doing that pattern until it doesn't feel loose anymore. It's snug tight. And another thing, don't use a ratchet with a big handle on it, because the longer the handle it is, the more leverage you have, the more power you giving it, and the easier it'll be to break one of them little butt bolts. What I did, I used a 1/4 inch, 3/8 1/4 inch is smaller. The handle is smaller, plus I used this long butt extension. I don't really need it, but when you use the extension, all that torque you putting down, the extension lessens it. It takes away some of that power you're putting into it, so it kind of help you keep from breaking these dang on bolts or putting them too tight. So make sure little handle, possibly an extension, and keep repeating the pattern, because as you tighten it down, once you go back around, you'll notice you could get a little more. You go back around, you can get a little more, until you get to the point to where when you come back to that number 1, it's snug. You can't get that little more no more. Number 2, it's snug. Can't get that little more no more. So that's what you want to do. And basically, that's it when you're torquing things down. It's good to use the torque specification, but you don't always have to, okay? But do it at your own risk. I don't want you tearing nothing up and blaming me for it. You know what I'm saying? Alright, as you can see, I'm running out of sunlight, man. I've been out here all day. Now, I got this Plenum on there. Everything is hooked up. And voila, she's all put back together. She's running. The belt spinning down in there. Fan spinning. So far, I don't have no leaks or anything. I'm gonna let it run for a little while. Make sure I don't get no leak. Take it for a test spin. So if you like this video, give me one of them thumbs up, subscribe, because I always got other things to do, so there'll be more videos coming. Beautiful. Put it all back together. She running and purring like a kitten. No leaks, no misfires. It's just a beauty. Like, subscribe, catch you in the next one.